Hey everybody, Pop Call Friday. It's John Hope Bryant from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not driving. It's Sir James.
Hey family.
Is driving, just so you know we're being safe. John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and CEO of Operation Hope, America's largest financial services network for the poor, the struggling class, the teetering class, folks with too much month at the end of their money. The largest network of financial inclusion counselors, Hope Financial Coach counselors in the country, the private banker for the poor. Hey, Najee, civil rights. We're going to have you working with us soon, Najee. Count on that. And I want to talk about that here in a minute. Author of 4 books now. The last one is The Memo, which is out this week. I want to thank you guys for making it a bestseller. Hey, Roshenda from North Carolina. Hey, Marvin Bell, Milwaukee. The Memo, which came out on Monday. Delmar, hey. Joyce Baxter, hello. Lala, hello. So the Memo came out on Monday. I did Squawk Box on Monday. I did the Roland Martin show this week. I'm doing what's the show? The radio personality I'm doing on Monday. The big one.
I couldn't even.
All right, it'll come to me. Doing a big radio show on Monday morning. We'll give you details on that. The book is now #1 on self-help, I think it is, on Kindle. Thank you guys. It's #1 on I think it's budgeting and finance on hard copy. It's top 100 in 3 categories. Yes, so let's give it some love there. Top 100 in 3 categories already on the audiobook. I read the audiobook, by the way, so if you want to be bored by my voice, you can get it on either Audible or on iTunes. Yes, thumbs up to you guys too. All right, so I want to thank today. Last week we had, so the Memo is a book that is basically it's not tough love, it's blunt force love. I have compassion and empathy for all the struggles and the challenges, and I'm saying basically, hey Antonio, congratulations, thank you. I'm saying, so what? So we got challenges, we have problems, we have people trying to hijack your life. Lisa says awesomeness. So what? Hey Mark, what are we going to do about the challenges? What are we going to do about our problems? We're going to complain about it, or are we going to get up and get moving in our lives in a new? See how rough Sir James drives? See what I got to deal with? Hey Joyce, thank you very much for your compliment. So the Memo is important because it is the steps for how you transform and take your life back, because no one taught you how power, money, or wealth works. It's not written down anywhere, right? It teaches how to cash checks, but not how to write checks. The world does not teach you what I put in this book, The Memo. And I encourage everybody to go buy your copy. You can donate money to Operation Hope if you want to and get your copy through Hope and become a member of Hope. But the question then becomes, John, what are you doing on the ground? What are you doing to transform lives? So one of the nuggets I dropped in this book, and we're doing a national credit score index with FICO, because I talk about credit scores a lot. The average credit score in America is 700 for the first time in history. The average credit score for, well, the number of whites with a credit score below 620, though, is 15%. So this is basically all of my, we can pull in here for a minute, all of my rural, depressed, distressed, financially aggravated white friends who are looking for answers anywhere they can get it, even politically. They're just trying to find a way out of no way. So 15% of whites have a credit score below 620 and cannot access the capital markets, cannot get a good mortgage, cannot get a good home loan, cannot start a business. The economy's falling away in their small town, and they're unhappy about it. And they're living in fear. And 44%, listen to me now, 44% of all blacks in this country have a credit score below, hey, Marshall, have a credit score below 620. Almost half of African Americans. I'm going to give you the Latino stats and the Asian stats on a follow-up video. But black versus white, 15% of whites have a credit score below 620, and 44% of blacks have a credit score below 620, which means that half of African Americans cannot get a mortgage, not a decent one, cannot get, oh, there's a big video I'm going to do. I may do it tomorrow when I'm in London. It's at least it says deep. It's a big video I'm going to do about what happens when your credit score is low. then your cost of capital is going to be high. So what businesses actually can you start when your cost of capital is high? What businesses are actually profitable? And Sir James, is illegal businesses.
What's that?
It's illegal businesses.
Yes.
When your credit score is low,
Yeah.
and you need a profit margin that's high,
Yep.
the only business you can start is an illegal business.
That's right.
Which is not sustainable and has all kind of a moral. So I'm gonna do a whole video on that. So if credit scores are 640 for blacks, 620 for blacks on average, half of blacks, which means we cannot become a homeowner, cannot become a small business owner, cannot become an entrepreneur, can't send your kids to college. Everything you get costs you more money. So you make less and you spend more. How do you mitigate that? We're opening these Hope Inside locations across the country, and you know that this follows on the Freedmen's Bank I've been talking to you about. That Abraham Lincoln started in 1865, following the Civil War, to teach free slaves about money. Some of you can Google on your phone that we were successful in working with Secretary Jack Lew and the administration last year to rename the Treasury Annex building the Freedmen's Bank building. I want to commend Secretary Mnuchin, the current secretary, for commending that work and wanting to build upon it. So there's no partisanship here. Abraham Lincoln was a party of all people. And Frederick Douglass went on to run that bank when Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, and put $10,000 of his own money in that bank in 1865. Not a broke man. I'm getting to that in a minute because it's relevant, right? And it was said the failure of this bank did more to set free slaves in America back than 10 more years of slavery. Now, where did I open my 100th Hope Inside location? As I'm committed to finish what Lincoln started. Sergio says, the hardest working man in America. Hey, Sergio. At least he didn't say run for president this time. Hey, Ronald Modisier. What a beautiful name. So our 100th location was opened in Baltimore at Fulton Financial. At Baltimore. What's Baltimore's relevancy? That's where Frederick Douglass lived. That's where he, before he moved to Washington, D.C. Hey, Portland in the house. Hey, Cheryl Penny. So Frederick Douglass opened businesses, owned real estate in Baltimore, Maryland, and rented that real estate to working class blacks, and was worth at his death approximately $5 million. That's deep. So the man that you call North Carolina needs a Hope Inside. I think it was Anthony. We're in North Carolina, I think, Anthony. Go to Operation Hope. Anthony Foster. Go to operationhope.org. I think we're already there. Hey, Yolanda. So hey, Mark Pyers. So Frederick Douglass owned his own legacy. So he went from being owned as property as a slave to owning property as a capitalist, and then was able to give back to his community as a philanthropist and as an abolitionist, working to help with civil rights because he had his civil rights. Did you get that? Let me stop here and make sure you understand. Did you get what I just said? Let's have a clean up your credit party, Marshall said. Exactly. Okay, you guys got what I'm saying there. Great. So it's not civil rights or civil rights. These are not in conflict. It's civil rights and civil rights. One builds on the other. One has always been part of the other. Okay, I see your thumbs up in your hearts. You're getting that. Okay, great. Now, Sandy says yes. Sandy White, she got that. So we built our 100th Hope Inside location. We launched it last week in the home of Frederick Douglass, in the home city of Frederick Douglass. The next day, here comes Regions Bank. I want to commend their CEO, Grayson Hall. When people do well, commend them. When people do the right thing, don't just criticize people when they do wrong. When they do well, you should commend them. They didn't have to do it. Grayson Hall, the chairman CEO, that's the only Fortune 500 company in Alabama, Regions Bank. Rick Swagler, EVP, John Davies, Mike Hart, and all the heroes and sheroes, LaWanda at Regions Bank. Thank you very much. 100 locations they've committed through 2020. That's in addition to the 100 locations that we already just announced that we're opening already. Just so you know that this work is serious. So we're going to be opening 100 locations with them across their platform. That makes us just under 10% of all Regions Bank branches. SunTrust Bank started this off. Bill Rogers, the CEO, Jim Wells before him, Birmingham, Isaac Cooper. Yeah, Isaac Cooper, we're, as you know, big time Birmingham. That's where Regions is, exactly. And Isaac, thank you for your help. Cheryl says, gotcha, great. SunTrust Bank started all this off with committing 200 locations, which is 12% of the regions of the SunTrust Bank branch network. It's a big deal. And Bill Rogers to be commended, their CEO, Jerome, Peter and Debbie Crowder and all the heroes and sheroes at SunTrust, Susan Johnson, et cetera, David Fuller, there, who made that happen and continue to make that happen. And we're popping credit scores and getting these banks out of the no business and back into the yes business. We're working with black banks like City National Bank in New Jersey, working at the Whole Foods in New Jersey. We were founded, by the way, with a black bank, used to be called Founders National Bank in LA. Carver Federal Savings, we've worked with for a long time out of Harlem. So we're working with black banks as well. Hispanic banks, Popular Community Bank in Puerto Rico, we need to go there on our disaster response work. So we're working with Latino institutions as well. So coming back to the story, and then First Tennessee Bank, they're a smaller bank in context of the super regionals, but they're a big bank in the sense that they are the largest bank in Tennessee. So it's First Horizon and First Tennessee, and that's the CEO is Brian Jordan. You guys should send these folks a note and tell them thank you for doing this. Brian Jordan, Yusuf, and all the heroes and sheroes at First Tennessee, Dave Miller, etc., have committed 10% of the bank branches. They had 150 branches, committed 10% to us, 15 locations. Those are up and running in rural and urban Tennessee. And now we're talking about doubling that commitment with First Tennessee, so stay tuned there. And then we have Bank of the West in California. We've got One West Bank that's committing 10% of its branches. We're almost very close there. Fulton Bank, almost close to 10% of their branches. So total 500 locations. We're in Whole Foods. Okay, we're in 2 Whole Foods, we're in 2 Hyatt hotels, one here in Atlanta helping their employees who are under financial stress. I just heard today that a engineer and a housekeeper, an engineer and a housekeeper. Hey Vincent, thank you for thanking us for our work. You're in Newburgh, New York. An engineer and a housekeeper became a homeowner. Hello, come to BMO Harris Bank. That's Marvin Bell. Okay, Marvin. Let me double back to Harris Bank. We had a relationship with them a while back. I'm proud of you all. Dale King, thank you. So, who was I just mentioning? Oh, so we're going into UPS with their employees. Hey, Trent Branch. We're going into Delta for their employees. If you're a flight attendant, we're coming to help you soon. We are in Atlanta Police Department because police officers are filing bankruptcy at double the national average. Making $48,000 with a gun and a badge, and you're stressed out. That cannot be good for our communities. Najee Ali knows all about that. We're at Delta Regional Hospital in Detroit Regional Hospital, in Detroit. We're going in Atlanta Public Schools to help the teachers, and because the teachers are financially stressed out. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Why are we going in all these locations, all these different industries? So we can be where folks flock, stop, and shop, and where they're stressed out. Tia Jackson said, this is awesome, great. I'm trying to give you guys details, not rhetoric, right? So that we can help you move your credit score from 500 and 550 or 600 to 620, 650, 700, so that you can set yourself free, right? And you can have as much opportunity as you can handle. Okay, Tia says, yes, you're getting it. So you understand why I'm breaking this down for you in this way. We're in City Hall in St. Louis. We're right outside of Ferguson, Missouri, by the way. I forget the county, but we're like right next to Ferguson, Missouri. Let me see. I'm trying to think of any new and interesting partnerships we're hoping side. I think I just mentioned Atlanta Public Schools. There's Maria Kostarfin, the superintendent there. We're working with the teachers there who are financially stressed, living from paycheck to paycheck. This is a moment in history, ladies and gentlemen. And we got too much month at the end of our money. We're stressed out. We don't have a private banker for the poor. There's nobody that's working before Operation Hope that's working with the average American to de-stress their life, to get us out of just surviving, get us into thriving. But the first thing we got to do is to get you out of your stress bubble. So we're going into, by the way, to Houston with all the disaster response work with Homeland Security, FEMA, and American Red Cross. We're going to be opening Hope Insides in Houston. We're coming, all right? We're going into Miami with their disaster recovery. Is there anything that retiring vets can do? Trent Branch. Yeah, you can volunteer. We're going to need tons of volunteers to help the folks who were hit by these disasters going into Puerto Rico and all the U.S. island territories with virtual volunteering, so we can get on the phone with these folks who have been affected by this disaster and cross-connect to their lender and help to renegotiate themselves out of these horrible credit agreements that are stressing them on top of stress. You got a car loan and no car anymore, home loan and no home anymore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I got to go. I got 30 minutes to pack before the international flight, otherwise I'm going to get problems. But I'm gonna blame it on Sir James.
Always.
Always. Sir James, give him some love as we wrap up.
Family. Knowledge is power.
And power comes from knowledge.
That's right.
This is the civil rights movement, unbought, unbossed, and unbiased, coming to you straight, no chaser, from Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to South Africa this weekend, dropping the mic there, bringing the memo to South Africa. I'm speaking at the Essence Festival in South Africa this week, and talking to government officials there about bringing our Hope Inside model and our Project 51-7 model there. We're living a moment in history, ladies and gentlemen. History never feels historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. Hey, Yolanda Frazier. And somebody says, hey, Sir James, Trenton Branch.
Hey, Trent.
Civil rights, that's right, Tia. And we have all, hey, Danette Felix, good to see you online. Yes, see you in Puerto Rico, exactly. We can all make a difference. We can all have an impact. We can all lean into this. If you don't have money, give me your time, volunteer. If you don't have time, give me some of your money, because every dollar you give me is a dollar less I've got to raise. Let's make free enterprise and capitalism a force for good. Let's not just complain about what it's not doing and what the government's not doing. Let's try to make everybody work together to help the poor and the struggling, help us all become a better country by having better households and better lives. We need to give people the memo. Remember, Delivering the Memo is a new series I'm doing for Facebook, episodic. The next series drops tonight. Go to that page and like it. Please write these CEOs I just mentioned to you and thank them for doing the right thing, and encourage them, encourage other CEOs to follow their lead. We can change the world. One CEO at a time, one suite at a time, one you at a time. We can go from civil rights to include civil rights. We can go from moving from the fields to the factories in the 70s and the 80s, to moving from the streets to the suites in the 21st century, and move from race and the color line to issues of class and poverty, and setting people free through your own financial literacy. I'm out. I love you. Talk to you soon. Peace and light.